Welcome, this is Rosemary. Readings by Rosemary, the Emerald Tablet. We're going to go over Nebuchadnezzar's dream part 4, and that would be the fourth kingdom, the Roman Empire, the kingdom of iron. Iron is related to Mars, of course. And before we get into this information here from Ascended Master Jesus, channeled information, we're going to just go over Daniel chapter 2, verse 40. Okay. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. For just as iron hammers and breaks everything in pieces, so shall it break and conquer every kingdom. And that's the Roman Empire being spoken of there. Now, in the last video, we went over the third kingdom of bronze or brass. That would be the belly of brass. And now we're into the thighs of iron in Nebuchadnezzar's dream of the image, the statue. We're in the Iron Age of Mars, where we have 400 laws and 100 trees, which is indicative. The number 400 in the Hebrew gematria and in Kabbalah has to do with an infinity number, and 400 has to do with holograms, and we all know about holograms these days. We're going to have holographic TVs pretty soon, so if you don't know about it yet, you will. Okay. And the 100 trees, of course, we're talking about laws and grace. How are you getting grace? Where we're saying, okay, well, we'll give you a pass on this, we won't be so hard on you. You break the law, we won't put you to death, we'll just put you in prison. We won't put you in prison for life, then we'll just put you in prison for a certain amount of years, and then we'll give you rehabilitation and all of this. You see, we have grace always mixed with the law. Okay. Religion is based on faith and works together, because faith without works is dead. Okay. Here we have a representation of the Roman Empire, and it also has a bit of a feeling that it moves into the Holy Roman Catholic Church, and then the different churches that branch off, the Orthodox Church and the Protestant churches, and we have Islam coming in later, and of course there's all kinds of churches coming in. We'll talk about that in the next segment, but for now we're going to stick with the Roman Empire. But just remember, it's kind of related to the early shenanigans and behavior of the Catholic Church and the Inquisition and all of that, because there's a lot of similar behavior. Okay, so what we've got here is we've got people being crucified on crosses in Rome, people being burned at the stake. We've got people crucified on stakes. The Jehovah's Witnesses feel that Jesus was crucified on a stake, not a cross. Okay, we've got people burned at the stake. We've got, again, the tree of life, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Here, the tree of life, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, tree of life, tree of knowledge of good and evil. See? Tree of life, tree of knowledge of good and evil. It just everywhere. It's reflections, differentiation, differentiation. Just like cells. Differentiated cells are mortal, undifferentiated cells are immortal. Same thing. Okay? We have the Alpha and the Omega. We have the Tav. Hebrew, beginning and end. Greek, beginning and end. We've got a cross. This right here is on your dollar bill. This right here, the Omega, right around George Washington's head. Okay, right around his head. We got this on the back of the dollar bill, obviously. This is on the dollar bill. This is on the dollar bill. See? The Asherah pole, the serpent, tree of life, tree of the knowledge of good and evil, tree of life, tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You see? Reflection, number 11. Okay? What we have here is fire and flesh, will and flesh, spirit and flesh. Okay, passion. We have control through cruelty. We have iron nails and iron crosses. We have flesh nailed to wood with iron. We have flesh nailed to wood with iron and burned. We have churches, church. We have Ur of the Chaldees, church. Financial systems, religious systems, mind control systems. Again, controlling your pineal gland. Don't fear people who can kill your body. Fear those who can split your soul up into so many pieces you don't know who you are, because you're not really focusing on yourself. They got you focusing on all this guilt. But it's really your own guilt that's being dealt with, and they are helping you with that. Religions do help with people's own guilt, because at the end of the day, it's your own guilt that gets you. And so churches are helping with that, and so is the Illuminati, actually. Okay. So these can represent, it can represent a church, trees. It can represent the pillars of Jacob and Boaz. It can represent the pillars of gold and silver. It can represent twin towers that got burned, like the Wicker Man gets burned to the ground, like the Wicker Man's ceremony. But one thing to note here, people wouldn't be in that situation if they didn't have some kind of feeling that they needed to be there. There's actually no such thing as a victim or anybody victimizing you from the outside. If something bad happens to you, it's because part of you believes it needs to, because you're trying to pay for your own sins. And the lesson here is to allow your sins to be paid for you by Christ. It was already done. Your debts can get paid, both financially and morally. And if you notice, there are people who are getting their debts paid. There are bankers who get their debts paid. Okay. So that's Nebuchadnezzar's dream, part 4. And that's the Roman Empire.